I'm not feeling very well today. That's pretty obvious. Campaign National Defund the BBC. What you do is everyone starts to inform TV licensing that they don't want the BBC anymore. And it's got to be done legally, of course. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough. It's got to be done legally. And I certainly wouldn't endorse any YouTube channels out there how to do it illegally. Because the law on the BBC is that if you use Netflix, if you watch Amazon, then you don't need a TV license. The only thing you need a TV license is to watch live TV, yeah, or to use BBC iPlayer. Well, what would you want to watch BBC iPlayer for in the first place? EastEnders has become a platform for social engineering. EastEnders is just basically socialist propaganda 24 hours a day. I mean, like the chat shows have, have always got a drag queen. I mean, I don't care if someone wants to become a drag queen, but if you read the BBC, or watch the BBC, sorry, you're going to be thinking that drag queens are all round the corner. Oops. Yep, there goes another one. Honest. So the BBC is false propaganda. The only problem is if you've got Sky TV. If you have a Sky TV, by definition, you have to pay the TV tax of the TV licence. I call on everybody to stop watching the BBC. Stop watching it. Because they put anti-Semitic filth on. They had from Glastonbury, and that's the other thing that annoys me about the BBC. They've always got to have someone with a northern accent on. And, it's Glastonbury. Northerners will say Glastonbury. I mean, I'm northern by blood. So defund the BBC. There's plenty of information. I mean, I'm not calling on anyone to watch live TV without paying their licence. It's very naughty. But by the way, the TV detector van is a complete hoax. The only thing you've got to watch is don't use iPlayer. Don't use iPlayer because then they can say you're watching TV. Don't watch the BBC. Don't watch ITV live, but you can watch it on catch-up. Now, I'm sure there are ways, if you really want to still watch EastEnders. EastEnders is always Phil Mitchell beating someone up, someone else getting drunk, a bit of a punch-up. But apparently now they are using leftist propaganda that certain religions are okay. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Watch Paul Walton, by the way. Defund the BBC. Stop paying your TV licence, yeah? You can watch Netflix, you can watch Amazon, you can watch non-live TV. If you want to watch Wimbledon, go to the pub. If you want to watch the Premier League, go to the pub. Now, I think we also need Musk on board. The BBC is a national abomination. It's not what it was originally intended. It was originally intended with Lord Reith making sure that if you were on the radio, you had to be in the proper dress. It's sort of degenerated a bit from there. It sort of got into sort of promoting the socialist agenda. Defund the BBC. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I mean, if I visit my dad's, I have to actually watch it. It's unbelievable. There is nothing on the BBC worth watching. If you want to watch live TV without a TV licence, and I would strongly urge you, excuse me, not to do it. But if you are, you're only watching a free-to-air broadcast. Whatever you do, do not watch iPlayer without a TV licence in your own home, because that would be detectable. The only issue then is Sky. Now, Sky is also a national abomination, and Sky, basically, if you've got a Sky subscription, then basically the BBC will come after you for your TV licence money. Why should we be paying for Gary Lineker's pension? Why should we be paying for propaganda that is straight from the Communist Manifesto? The BBC is a national abomination. The BBC News is leftist news. Now, of course, I know the socialist workers don't like it because it's not completely, reading the socialist worker. Well, I mean, I actually picked up a copy of the socialist worker. But the BBC is promoting anti-Semitism. It is promoting it at the music festivals. It is promoting anti-Semitism at the Glastonbury Festival, it is promoting anti-Semitism because they're platforming, A, B, C, D of people who are making these, statements about free Palestine. Well, it's already free, yeah? Now, if you read the Israel-Arab conflict, the Israelis have offered the Arabs peace on at least 5 occasions. On those 5 occasions, the Arabs have rejected it because in return for statehood, Israel needs guarantees of security. Now, Israel does have guarantees of security now. It administers the territory known as Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank. Most people can't even tell you why it's called the West Bank, because there's already a Palestinian state, by the way. It's called Jordan. Ask Winston Churchill. Sorry, he's dead. Winston Churchill partitioned the mandate for Palestine. Now, I actually think that the British, because the British are totally two-faced, the British should never have called it the Mandate for Palestine. They should have called it the Mandate for a Jewish State. They should have given it a different name to Palestine, because during the Ottoman Empire, which preceded the Mandate, the region was known as Syria, Palestine. It was just a name of a region. And the reality is that you can find quotes from Arab leaders saying there is no distinction between Syrian, Jordanian, and the people who live in the Palestine Mandate. You've also got leaders of Saudi saying there's no such thing as a Palestinian people. You need to read the history. Jewish Virtual Library is a good one. The British Imperial War Museum is, well, it's biased obviously, it's the British. What the British did in this region was disgusting. But what the British are doing now are the BBC. The BBC is an abomination. The BBC is basically a leftist. It's like the Guardian newspaper on air. In fact, it's actually worse than the Guardian. I mean, I think the Guardian does have some editorial integrity. Well, some. It does discuss the leftist position well. It's articulate. It's a reasonable paper to read. You should always read your opponents. But the BBC has ceased to become impartial. The BBC has become an abomination. It needs to be abolished. It needs to be abolished. A government needs to come in and say, I'm sorry, but if you want to run a free-to-air TV station, you do it through advertising, you do it through sponsorship, yeah? You don't do it through making people pay £150 a year tax. Now, £150 can go a long way. I mean, it goes a very long way. It went to paying Gary Lineker £2 million a year or whatever he was doing to present the sport. And after presenting the sport, this guy would go on tweets making anti-Semitic tweets, of which he was still given a farewell. Unbelievable. We are living in a police state already, by the way. We're living in a police state. We're living in a police state, and the BBC basically doesn't do anything about investigative journalism. I also don't believe ITV is doing anything either. ITV is owned by, I think it was a merger between Carlton and Granada. And actually, ITV is now an unforeseen consequence of the 1990 Broadcasting Act, which, by the way, mateys, you need to read that very, very carefully. That was an oppressive piece of legislation. It's ridiculous. Like, for instance, I'll give you a quiz question. What can the British government do to a ship in international waters? Under what circumstances can a British government board a ship in international waters? Is it A, drug smuggling, B, people trafficking, 3, having illegal parties on a boat, or is it D, running a pirate radio station? The answer is, of course, D. That is how they shut down Britain's last national pirate radio station, which was called Radio Caroline. Now, Radio Caroline would not be approved by someone like Bob, because Radio Caroline was pushing something called LA, which was called Loving Awareness. Now, Loving Awareness was basically you listen to as you were smoking your joint. Now, I don't smoke joints. Some people actually don't believe that, but it's true. But the 1990 Broadcasting Act created the abomination that is ITV. It created and started to say that if any satellite service came out of UK, it had to be regulated. So actually, that was one of Thatcher's last acts. Thatcher wasn't perfect. The 1990 Broadcasting Act is an abomination. It is government control over our media. But there is one thing we are all in control of. We can all stop paying our TV license, legally of course. Legally of course. I would never be advocating someone just watching the TV anyway, as long as it's not, near a window. Because there are YouTube videos out there encouraging you to break the law, which of course I would never endorse whatsoever. But anyway, the only thing with the BBC TV licence is to make sure that you do not watch iPlayer, but why would you want to watch that anyway? And do not watch ITV X-Player on live. You can watch ITV recorded. Now, like I say, if you want to watch Wimbledon free-to-air without a TV licence, the TV detector van is another lie spread round by the government and the BBC. It's quite funny how they spread round lies. They've been spreading round lies since 1922. In 1922, Marconi was a private company, but the British government decided to nationalise broadcasting. That was a big mistake. That's why America is the land of the free, and why we are an abomination that keeps having this Glastonbury nonsense. This Glastonbury nonsense has got to stop. We've got to stop the BBC. The way to stop the BBC is to defund it and stop paying the TV licence legally. Don't watch live TV. Just listen to the radio, listen to podcasts, listen to Fox News. Do not watch this drivel. And if you want to watch ITV on catch-up, you can. If you want to watch Channel 4 on catch-up, you can. If you want to watch Sky on catch-up, you can. Stop paying for this nonsense. You can cancel your TV licence quite legally at any time. Now, I would never advocate listening to live broadcasts without a TV licence, but by the way, there is no way of catching you. This was the lie that was put around, that there was they actually had to make them out of like little rakes and stuff. There is no TV detector van. That's a lie from the BBC. They will come and ask you, are you watching live broadcasts? And of course, because you're obeying the law, you basically say, no, I'm not. They ask you, can I come in? You say, no. They say, can we come and check your TV connection? You say, no. Now, of course, if your TV doesn't have any... They are absolute monsters, by the way. When they come in, they see if they try and check if your TV is actually tuned in to all the channels and all this. And by the way, that was the other thing the Cameron government did. He decided to basically start making the over 85s who actually have to watch this crap to make them pay the TV license. It's absolutely outrageous. It's a tax on television. It's a complete tax on television. I actually told my ex how to avoid it, and then basically set up, I don't know how it happened, but they came and they said, you're watching the BBC? And I replied and I said, yes, I am. And they said, where are you? I said, I'm in Bangalore. And basically, I did that to them. Do you know what I mean? That's one of my fingers, by the way. It was just brilliant. Because they said, oh, you're watching the BBC. I said, well, I do occasionally. And I said, where are you? I said, I'm in Bangalore on a VPN. Now, by the way, the BBC iPlayer does work reasonably well on a VPN. You're not supposed to do it. But, there are VPNs which will basically play the BBC. If you're that desperate, overseas, of course, you can use a VPN to watch the BBC. Why the hell would anyone want to watch the BBC? We're going on a bit now. I mean, the news, it's a joke. It's basically propaganda that used to be read by Hugh Edwards. Now, what did he get up to again? Apparently the crap he was getting up to was absolutely despicable. What's the BBC ever brought us? Jimmy Savile. John Peel. And by the way, do you know how John Peel became famous? Basically, John Peel was basically an overgrown little hippie, and he worked on the last proper independent station, which actually predates BBC Radio London and predates Radio 1. And he started playing all this hippie music late at night. And basically, because the station was due to close down, the station just didn't even discipline him because he didn't play any adverts, didn't play any news. He just started playing hippie music. Some of the stuff which the young are listening to is absolutely disgusting, by the way. Now, probably half of it is now on Radio 1, and Radio 1 is an absolute abomination. Radio 2 is an abomination. If you've got a radio at work, at home, tune away from the BBC. Now, the station I would listen to is Laser 558, which of course has nothing to do with this channel, nothing to do with the Kick channel. It's an ethical music station, completely unrelated to the corporates. It was originally an offshore station, which, funnily enough, again, the BBC, the authorities shut down, because the trouble is Laser was taking away audience from the big boys. So, don't pay for your TV license. TV licenses are a waste of money, because I've told you what you need it for. You need it to watch TV Live or to watch BBC iPlayer. Now, if you want to watch TV Live, go to the pub. If you want to watch TV without a TV license, A, I don't endorse it, but B, the TV Detective van was an absolute lie, and there are YouTube videos which I would never endorse, which tell you how to sort that one out. Stop paying for your TV license. Legally, of course.